spectrum nerds. When your IP is in a straitjacket, we won't attack it, we'll just give it reconstructive surgery. We're your two best friends. I'm the bro, I'm the sis. We know your story's coke and that you're an addict, but we love you too much to let you go down like this, so we'll hug you close and shout, no, broad spectrum nerds. We're just two broad spectrum nerds. When your IP is in a straitjacket, we won't attack it, we'll just give it reconstructive surgery. We've got ideas for years. I'm a vet, I'm a teacher. We make a meat quesadilla, feast in our cafeteria. We are two broad spectrum nerds. Broad spectrum nerds.
Hey everybody, what is poppin', BSNians?
What's up, guys?
Good to see y'all.
Good to see y'all, and it's good to see both of us.
That's right.
Together.
YouTube space.
In cyberspace, in Zoomland.
Like, share, subscribe. All right. So today we're going to do a quick rapid fire round on our thoughts on Spider-Man
No Way Home. Yes.
Two of these are my actual childhood.
It's because he's old.
Seasoned is what I am. I'm seasoned, like your mom's chicken. That just came out. We can debate whether we're going to keep
back pains. Anyways.
Back pains from carrying all this funny. My funny bone
is
like one long cranial like extension from the base.
So we're gonna ask each other questions about our thoughts on the video, on the movie.
So, sister host, in your opinion, your objective opinion, what is the best moment in Spider-Man No Way Home?
It's the moment with the three Peters when they're talking before like all the villains come, and it's just them being like kind of goofy Peter Parker brothers, and like their whole conversation about like web shooters. Like, do you make your own fluid? Like, I make mine and it's a hassle. So like, do you like just the way that they were bouncing off of each other? It was amazing. I could watch like 40 more minutes of that. Like, just that's the best one in the whole movie.
Yeah, that was a good moment. It's all the self-talk. I think you just need to work on.
Like, you're amazing, man. You are amazing.
That was good.
So thanks. I really need to hear that. Like,
right. Like, I know. Yeah, their chemistry was fantastic.
It's amazing.
I too think that was probably the best moment in the whole movie. So I'm gonna pick a different moment, which is like
it's a really good scene. It's a really good scene. It
is. Whoever they were having fun. They were having fun. I won't say my favorite movie. The moment in the movie that I thought was the best was actually like right near the end when Tom Holland's Spider-Man is going to impale Green Goblin with his glider, and then Toby Spider-Man comes and stops him. And we've talked about this so often, just the way he looks at him, like it's all
his eyes.
All nice.
He said so much with his eyes in that scene.
Yeah, his eyes are so just kind.
They're gentle,
kind,
and understanding, like complete understanding. It's like, I get it, but no.
And like it was a subtle transformation because he got there and his eyes were intense with holding it, and then it just melted away.
And he was like, I get it, but we can't. We can't.
Yeah, it was like a big hug.
It just without touching him, it was a great moment.
Yeah. So I think that was the best. I think that was the best moment.
Yeah, that was. So now, what do you think is the objective worst part of the whole movie?
Is actually the mirror dimension scene. That doesn't make any sense to me. I understand to all the fans out there, like I get like they're slowly returning Peter to what he was supposed to have been from the beginning, which is super smart. And it's like, oh, math, geography, blah, blah, blah. I totally get that. But
geometry.
Huh?
Nothing.
I said geometry.
Okay.
Whatever. Okay. This is why my funny bone is longer than yours. Okay.
That's what funny bone is. Continue.
But just like the idea that the basically co-sorcerer supreme can take you into a dimension where he is effectively God and lose. That doesn't make any sense. Like, he was struggling way too hard to be in complete control of the entire environment. He was struggling way too hard to get Peter Parker, who like he kept bragging like,
Peter
"Oh, I was on the
Parker.
Avengers. I fought Thanos.
Yeah, but he was
But
just
just
kind
like,
of, you were there.
yeah, you also lost to Captain America. You lost to every Avenger you fought against, pretty
You
much,
did
except
pretty
for
pretty significant. You lost to Star
Winter
Lord. He
Soldier
had
and
you in the.
Falcon.
You lost to Star Lord. He got you in a headlock. How?
Yeah.
Star Lord.
Yeah, so I'm just like that. Like, I understand why they did it, and like their out was the geometry thing. Like he technically lost. Like he didn't get the box. Like Doctor Strange got the box. So Doctor Strange technically won, but
ultimately it was a long game. He played a long game to get to that box.
yeah, it was too much. And then like even being able to take off the sling ring and like leave, I was just like, like my suspension of disbelief is about to snap. I don't have that much left. So I think that was probably the worst part of the film.
Interesting. So mine is similar but different, because to me the worst scene is when Ned had the sling ring and flung his arms around and summoned all different Peter Parkers. Like
I can feel your brain.
because what it takes to be able to wield the sling ring is not just flinging your hands around and thinking about something hard.
Right.
Because it's like an actual focusing of magic into a purposeful motion over and over that takes practice and repetition. And they try to get by like, oh, there's magic in our blood. But like, okay. And just because you have magic doesn't mean you know how to wield magic. And it doesn't, like, it was a cool scene because they brought Peter Parker, but not the Peter Parker, which is a different thing, because if you're thinking about your Peter Parker and it's magic based on thought and feelings, why did you bring two strangers over here?
Fair.
So
that's completely valid.
That's me.
That makes sense. So on this note, I didn't know you were going to say that. I saw a meme the other day, which was probably yesterday, that said, and I don't know, we don't have any way of confirming this is true, but they were originally planning to use America Chavez as the way to bring in the other Peters, but there was like a filming conflict, and so they went with the Ned Magic in the Family thing. I don't know if that's true. I think it would have been too much for the story, because most people don't know who America Chavez is or understand her power set. For those who don't know, she's basically classic Superman, because modern Superman has all the powers. Classic Superman, just without like the laser vision and ice breath, but she also punches holes in between dimensions.
She's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And she's up there. She's a top tier like Marvel power. If you read like the Ultimate, she's up there with like Adam Brasher and Captain Marvel and all that. And what's her name? Spectrum.
Yes.
And all that. So I was like, that could have been kind of cool, but also maybe like a little bit too busy for what this movie was.
Because this movie was like just short of being too busy. So
right, yeah, it was teetering. It was like, okay, we're right on that edge. This bubble's about to pop.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, if they would have added one more character, it would have been like, okay, this is too much, guys.
Mm-hmm.
This is too much. But allegedly, they're going to America Chavez it. So
that, like, even though it would have been too much, that would have made more sense than Ned doing it. You know.
Heartily agree. Okay, so
power sets and all.
What was your then favorite part of the movie?
I feel like overall my favorite part is like any scene with William Dafoe in it.
Fair.
Yeah, like his acting was on such another level that you can't even like explain it properly. Like the way that you could see Goblin and Norman, like just like body language, facial expression, voice, like he never wore a mask, but you could clearly tell one character from the other the entire time. And like when he cured him at the end and like the Goblin like melted off his face and then he was just horrified by what he had done, like William Dafoe,
I mean,
killed it.
I try not to put too much emphasis on like academia, follow your path, whatever it is. But there is something to being a classically trained actor.
Yeah, it's different. It hits completely different. And he deserves every award, every single one of them.
Yeah, because I think that's like one of the running things is like none of these Marvel films has ever been nominated for like an Oscar or anything. I mean, reasonably so. And none of the actors have been nominated. I think Robert Downey Jr. was maybe up for it once, but he was like, no, don't nominate me.
Okay.
But Willem definitely earned it in this one. He showed up and
Yeah.
worked.
That man.
My favorite moment. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I was born in 1990. Okay. Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man was the first Spider-Man movie ever in existence. When he came onto the scene, actually, him coming into the scene, but I would say my actual favorite moment is when he reunites with Melina on screen for the first time in like 20 years. I legitimately, and Nicole was there, I squealed.
He did.
Like,
I got really excited.
Not even intentionally. I was just like, ah! Like,
Yeah.
It just came
right
out.
in the nostalgia. Right in the nostalgia. It was funny.
That was
They had their line together, like, how are you? I'm trying to be better.
Yeah. Oh, and then because like, you know, it's always played like Spider-Man versus Dr. Octopus. And this was the reminder that outside of like the psychosis of it being Dr. Octopus, like Otto Octavius and Peter Parker actually like each other.
They do. They're like friends, like genuinely. They like
they respect each other highly. Even being supervillains against each other, well, one being a hero, one being a villain, like there's still that deep respect and love. So that
like he was low-key a father figure. Like right before he got crazy, he was like stepping into that role of potentially being a father figure for Peter.
Yeah.
And he was willing to take it on. Like him and his wife, like they were like, they wanted to help Peter.
Yeah. And Peter was down, and like they understood how each other thought with the whole like scientist thing, and Otto was like feeding into just like everything that no one else around Peter could healthily feed into about who he was. Otto was doing it. So like seeing them like back together, I think that was probably my favorite part. I will add my second favorite part, as far as both of my favorite parts are tied to nostalgia, but whatever. My second favorite part is when Andrew saved.
That's what I was about to say. That was what I was like, wait, I'm gonna let you do your first before I do my second, because Andrew saving MJ, it fixed something in my heart I didn't know was broken. Like,
yeah, I mean, and how he, again, in the face, the way he looked at her and took that breath
and like crumpled, but then saved it. Like, I'm so glad you're okay. Like, I did it. You're okay.
Yeah. I don't have to be bitter anymore when I go back to my universe,
because I did it and you're okay.
Yeah. It's beautiful. So now let's completely taint this moment. Well, what was the moment you least enjoyed? Your least favorite moment?
I wasn't a fan of like the first 30 minutes of the movie. I'm gonna be honest. I felt like it took so long to get to the beginning of the movie, like because this movie ended exactly where the last one, like where this movie started where the last one ended. There was no time to kind of like establish anything. So it was like, we're swinging through New York and the bottom, and then we're at the house, and then, oh my gosh, the Matt Murdock scene was dope. It was dope. But the rest of it was like, we're in jail, we're not in jail, you can't get into college. Like, oh my gosh, like it took so long to get to the beginning of the movie. And yeah.
That's fair.
That was my least favorite. Like once the movie actually got started, it was like, okay, we're on for a ride. But like getting to the starting line took so much movie.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, like I think I ultimately saw it 3 times. 3 times. And because the first time we didn't see it from the beginning because we were a little late. But yeah, I was just like, I could see that. They basically crawled out of the situation left by the first 2 Spider-Man movies and had to like set him up to like, oh, he actually can think. He's not Iron Stark 2.
No, this was a whole trilogy, this movie.
Yeah. Well, it was 2 movies and then there was a third. Which is better than Star Wars, which was just 3 movies. Anyways, we're not here for that.
So what about you? What was your least favorite moment?
This might get me canceled by the fans. My least favorite part of the film was the spell.
Say it was the spell. Okay.
The spell doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't, no.
And like usually what people talk about at the top is like, okay, it started bringing in people who all know who Peter Parker was. Fine. I can accept that. Electro didn't know who Peter Parker was.
He didn't.
At all. And they like it could have worked if they didn't do Electro from Andrew's Spider-Man, because it could have been Electro from a different dimension.
Yeah.
Who knew? But they didn't do that. So I'm just like, okay.
I don't know.
Even that I was willing to give a pass up until the very end, where he does the spell again, like the actual spells are supposed to be. Because if everyone forgets who Peter Parker is, they return to their own dimensions. Let's do a couple pauses here. Just because you forget that Peter Parker is Peter Parker doesn't mean you forget about Spider-Man. So Doctor Strange being all choked up doesn't make sense, because he would still remember he fought Thanos and fought in the Avengers with Spider-Man. He just doesn't know who Spider-Man is anymore. But he still has his connection to Spider-Man, not Peter. So like all that would still be there. But also,
Peter did have his mask off a whole lot. I think maybe that's what they were paying attention to. Like
he did.
Peter basically never wore his mask.
That's true. But remember, I'm pulling from, I think it was it Infinity War? Like that whole scene was like, oh, we're using our made up names, in which case I'm Spider-Man. So like Doctor Strange's premier connection to Peter is knowing him as Spider-Man.
Wasn't his mask off when he said that though?
Yeah, but still, like, so you was, again, that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, so you would forget Peter Parker, but you're not going to forget that you fought with Spider-Man against Thanos. But even that pales in comparison to how did Toby and Andrew go back? Because they're both Peter Parker. They're not going to forget. I'm getting loud. They're not going to forget. They're not going to forget that they are Peter Parker. Like, they're not going to forget themselves. So
because we don't know exactly what the spell says, that's how they're going to get away with that.
I think that's generous. I think they're going to get away with it because it raked in over $1 billion during a pandemic. I think they're like, we don't owe y'all a single explanation at this point. Take it, let the blogs do what the blogs are going to do. Yeah, that was my least favorite part. I'm just like, this, okay, like maybe that can work. Maybe that can work. I'm like, okay, everyone forgetting about, but I think it was also the pitch meeting where he's like, well, what about all the footage? Because everybody was recording.
That's true.
What about Flash's book, which is still out in print, talking about his life with Spider-Man?
Like
what happens to all that?
Magic.
Yeah, that part.
Magic.
Yeah.
It's
an
illusion.
Yeah, and like, but also brought this up though, because like at the end when Peter's talking to Happy when they're at the graveyard, he's like, "Oh, how did you know May?" And they're like, "Through Spider-Man." So I'm like, clearly these people are remembering Spider-Man even though they forgot Peter Parker. So if Happy remembers Spider-Man, who definitely knew him as Peter before everyone else, Doctor Strange and every single Avenger should also remember Spider-Man very clearly.
That's a good point. I think they left that vague on purpose. So
yeah, I mean, and I get from a storytelling standpoint, sometimes less is more. It's like, you know what? We don't have time to go into that.
We don't have time for this. This
we got 92.5
hours
of this film nailed down. This last 8%.
It's fine. It's for the future. It's a future problem. It's a future problem.
Yeah. Let future Ted worry about that. Okay. So now the grand finale. Your feelings and thoughts on where they left things, how it ended. Well, either or, how the movie ended or like where they left things. I don't know if you want to split that hair.
I think it's just how it ended. How it ended was fine. I feel like that's a lot for Peter to be completely alone, considering he's never been completely alone ever in his life and effectively doesn't really know how to take care of himself. I think that's a lot. But aside from that specific detail, for the first time, I feel like in a hot minute, I'm actually excited for the next Spider-Man movie. Like, I want to see what they're going to do with him next, because they did finally make him into a version of Peter Parker that he always had the potential to be. Yeah. Like, they actually did that. So now that they've done that, it's like, okay, what is this Peter Parker? What is this Spider-Man going to be like moving forward? Like, who is he without anybody else? We finally get to see like what makes him Peter, what makes him Spider-Man. Yeah. And that is a positive.
I heartily agree. I think mine is the same. Yeah, I mean it sucks, but like, you know the song Mr. Lonely? That's Spider-Man. That is him. He falls in love, they die. He falls in love, he can't save them. He's a little more than street level, never quite an Avenger. No one, like, people respect him as a fighter, that he's still like somehow in the game, but he's not like anyone's homeboy. Like, for real, he don't really have friends. And the friends that he has are like a little odd. Like, Daredevil's his friend, but they don't really talk, and Daredevil's a little, you know, himself.
A lot. Dude, Matt is
Wow,
Matt is sweet boy.
That is a momism. That for like crazy.
That was wow.
I just
How
like,
did that feel? How did that feel?
I just accepted at this point. I got a few whites coming in here. That's not what we're here for. So yeah, I think I was happy about that. Like, he's finally, I think we haven't seen this version of what Tom Holland's Spider-Man can be since Civil War, when Tony found him and was like, that's you. Like, you're out here saving people, catching buses with
by yourself,
like, your homemade web. Yeah. And your ridiculous costume because you don't have a budget. But like, you're doing it and you're not asking for help. Like, you know who the Avengers are. You didn't look for the Avengers. You didn't
you're
put out
just
a video.
being the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Taking care of your neighborhood.
Yeah. And it's like, you're finally back to that. No crutches, no Edith, no Stark systems, nothing. You're just, and no high-tech suit. You're just Spider-Man.
And spandex, regular spandex. That's it.
That's like the proper shade of blue and red.
That's the proper shade of blue and red. That's it.
Yeah. So.
And that version of Peter Parker was enough. And now we finally get to see that.
Yeah. So yeah, like you, I'm very excited for the next one. Actually, today I was like, you know what? I'm kind of in the mood to watch Spider-Man. Like, if I owned it, I would watch it today, which is something I haven't felt since 2009 when Spider-Man 2 came out. I think that's when it came out, because I think first Spider-Man came out like 2007 or something.
My goodness.
So this is our Spider-Man No Way Home rapid fire reflections.
Rapid fire.
More on the reflections than the rapid fire.
Definitely not rapid, but definitely reflecting and firing.
For sure. So thank you all for watching. Share obviously in the comments what you agree or disagree with. And if there's another film that y'all wants to give like the BSN treatment to, let us know. We'll go through. Give you our,
you enjoy it.
Yeah. The best, worst, favorite, least favorite, and overall feelings about the ending. We can make this
even get more of a rapid fire next time. Who knows?
It's possibly unlikely, but maybe. We accept who we are. We accept it. We accept it. Yeah, you want to close this out?
We don't have a closer.
I know, you like how I put that on you. I couldn't think of anything, so I just threw it to you. Thank you guys for watching. Please share the video if you enjoyed it. Like, share, subscribe, and we will see y'all later.